Hi guys, so next on the season preview list, we got the Miami Dolphins. They made the playoffs last few years. They haven't won a playoff game since Dan Marino retired. So if they're hoping this would be this year they do. They should be a good team again. They're going to be competing for that division title, but the Bills should also still be good, and who knows with Aaron Rodgers and Jets. So first, we'll start with the coaching staff. Head coach, you have McDaniels going to his third year. From where he had just a good old see with the Niners. Like, he's had the offense been elite under him in Miami, but like still he hasn't. The team has not finished as good a second season under him so far. So hopefully he can turn it around. It's like they were leading that division last year, and they struggled at the end of it, and then they lost the division title, and they had to play a road game in the playoffs against the Chiefs, who were Super Bowl champs. So that's their head coach. He's still a pretty good head coach. And then he also got Frank Smith, also his third year. He was brought in with McDaniel. It was his 21st year of coaching, so he has a lot of experience. He doesn't really do much with the offense because McDaniel calls defensive plays, so he doesn't play calling. Smith just helps implement the game plan to the team. They've been good at that. Still, he doesn't do any play calling. The defensive coordinator, you got rid of Vic Fangio after 1 year. So then you brought in Anthony Weaver, his first year as defensive coordinator, but he had spent the last 3 years for the Ravens. Ravens have had some really good defense these past few years. He wasn't a defensive coordinator at all, but still, he was helped part of that defense. Like that defense has been really good these last few years. So you'll see what happens there. Yeah, you got a new defensive coordinator. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah, that's it for your coaching staff. You got a you should be good coaching staff. Let's go through that chart. First, for the quarterback, starting quarterback, you obviously get Tua Tagovailoa. You just paid him that huge contract. I can't remember how much it is, but he got paid. So yeah. So last year he had in 17, he played all 17 games. He had over 4,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 14 picks. He led the league in passing yards. He was top five in touchdowns. Unfortunately, interceptions isn't great, but it isn't terrible. And he didn't. You don't get much. You don't get much rushing wise. We also probably don't want to use him for defense rushing wise, just because he has dealt with some injuries, so you don't want to risk getting some big hits on the game. But he still does get some carries. Yeah, so you got a really good quarterback. Like that 2020 quarterback draft class is loaded. Like Tua, Herbert, Burrow, Hurts, and Love are all really good quarterbacks, all from 2020. Granted, we got Mike White. He's a fine backup. Like a couple years ago, he had some good starts for the Jets. He just hasn't had a start for the Dolphins because he was healthy all year last year. But he can be a fine starter for a few games. And then we also get Skylar Thompson. He did. I don't think he's. I can't remember if it was him or Teddy Bridgewater who started that playoff game because Tua was down with injury. But he played in that game because Bridgewater. They had a lot of injuries, quarterback. And he did fine. Like they obviously still lost. He did fine. He didn't play at all last year. In 2022, he played a playoff game. He had 19 completions, one touchdown, two picks. Like you obviously would expect too much out of him. He was a rook seven-round pick at that joint. Maybe a couple more years of development can help him be a little better as a backup. That's it for quarterback room. Now let's go to your running back room. You got a good, really good 1-2 punch, and you got potentially good number three in Jalen Wright, but he's a rookie. And you got another good number four in Jeff Wilson. But sounds like there's a possibility they might trade him away because they don't need him as your number four. So number one, you got Raheem Mostert. He does really good under this like Kyle Shanahan, like now McDaniel system. Like those all his best years are under Kyle Shanahan, and now Mike McDaniel his last couple of years. He had his first 1,000 yard rushing year. He had 18. He led the league in touchdowns in 18, and he only had 209 carries. It's not like he had a ton of carries. And like he had a lot of those touches. He was really good for them last year. He's been older for a running back. I think if he does start to decline, because a lot of his game is speed, so like that can fall pretty quick for running backs. I mean, if he does, you got another really good running back in Devon A. Chain. Like he did only get 11 games last year because he dealt with injuries. He had 800 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. Like an 8 in only 11 games because he missed six. That's really good. And he had it almost 200 yards in the receiving game. And Mostert's most leader receiving guy, so Mostert gets most of the receiving yards right away. But yeah, like has him as your number two right now. That's really good. So he can replace Mostert if he does struggle because he is getting up there. He also drafted Jalen Wright, fourth round from Tennessee. He's young. Like he shouldn't have to play this year, which is great. Give him a year development before he does have to play. Assuming injuries will happen because, like I just said, Adrian did deal with injuries last year. And behind him, you got Jeff Wilson. Like that's your number four running back right now. So when Wright does beat him out, that's pretty good. He has had some fine years, Niners and Dolphins, but like the Dolphins, like if you're a Kyle Shanahan system, like offense, your the running backs are most likely going to be good. It just seems like right those systems always have good running backs, even if they're late round picks. Like there's Mostert, there's Matt Breida, Elijah Mitchell. Like yeah, honestly, now the Niners have seen receiver. Before that, they had some pretty good running backs that nobody really heard of. They came out of nowhere. So yeah, that's it for the running back room. You got four good running backs. And let's go to wide receiver. You got one of the top. You got top three wide out in the league. Pos, probably he's top two. And he's based on this last year. He's number one. Justin Jefferson's right there as well. Like last year, he had 119 yards catches. He had almost pretty much let's just say 1,800 yards. He was 1 yard off 1,800. Let's just write it up one. He had 13 touchdowns, tied first in receiving. Yeah, and he missed one game. So like if he had played all 17, he might have broken Calvin Megatron Johnson's record for seniors. He had a ridiculously good year. He's been just as good since that Mahomes. Don't be worried about that. He's been perfectly good. He's great wide receiver. He's probably top if he's going based off last year. These last years, just as Jefferson did deal with injuries last year. Terry Kill's your number one. Then behind him, you got Sheila Waddle, who is your number two. That is just disgusting. Like he should, at most teams, he will be your number one. Like, well, as your number two. That's really good. He got a recent contract. Last year, you had 72 catches, 1,014 yards, and 4 touchdowns. But receiving wise, Terry Kill takes up a lot of the touchdowns. Mostert took up some on the air too. Like so, yeah. But yeah, he's really good as well. He missed 3 games. Yeah. So like if you play all 17, you probably would be top 20 receiving yards. Probably be top 20 catches. Probably have more touchdowns. Okay. That's really good. Number two. Then at number three, you got Odell Beckham Jr. He's not nearly as good as he used to be. Like, but you've got him on your deal as your number three, who really cares. Kind of big deal. He's a fine number three, but you don't want him to. You don't really want him as your number one or two at this point because he's not in his prime at this point. But then behind him, you got Braxton Berrios. He can start if needed, but he's not great. But like, it's your number four. That's pretty good. Because yeah. Then behind them, he also got River Raycroft. He's okay. He's not that. He's not very good, but it's your fifth guy. That's perfectly fine. Behind him, you got Malik Washington. He's really just a young momentum guy. But you do have Willie Snead the fourth, who had some good years with the Saints, the Ravens. Saints and the Ravens. Did he play for that team? So yeah, the Saints and Ravens were his best years. Then he just after that he's just not very good. He was getting a little up there. So he's perfect. So I feel like he has a chance to be number six, but he hasn't played not recently. Washington does have a chance because but he'll for sure be playing still guy if he doesn't beat out Snead as your six. Then you also got Anthony Schwartz. He's a fine depth guy, but like he mostly does not making this roster because you've got better guys than him. You also got Eric Zumka. He's not recent draft pick from Miami, but he probably won't be making this roster. But they might try to get him on the practice squad just because he was a recent fourth round pick by them. But it's not a huge deal because it was only fourth rounder. Got two. So you got Braylon Sanders, Kyrie McGowan, Young, the momental guys. They you're perfectly fine with them not making the roster, and they showed it. This the wide receiver room. Same thing by Carly Jr. So you're loaded on wide out. You got two really good guys, Waddle and Taylor, and a fine number three at this point at OBJ. And at tight end, it's really just been like who's a B in that role this year. It's like they haven't been great at tight ends since Guyana came here because they had Mike Gesicki when he first got here, but he did not do good for them. So yeah, but they brought in John Smith. He's okay, but it's like if you're Arthur Smith, you love him. I don't really know how many other people like him as your number one tight end, but he's okay. It just seems like Arthur Smith loves him. I mean, even more than Kyle Pitts. You drafted top five pick. You also got Jermaine Smith. He's okay. You don't. Is your backup tight end is fine. They also got Julian Hill and Jody Forston. I feel like there's a tight end three battle there, but it's not. Who cares? That means your tight end three. Really good to the field. So you're okay at tight end, but honestly, that hasn't made a big difference to the Dolphins the last few years not having a good tight end because they have those really good wideouts. They have some good running backs. So now they got one of the top fullbacks in the league now in goal, but it's not a big deal because most it's not same ton because most teams don't carry fullbacks, but still that's it. So that's now that for the weapons. Now let's go to the defensive line. Left tackle, you got Charnon said he's really good and healthy. Problem is he is not really he's not been healthy for a while. But if he does deal with injuries, you got a second round pick this past year in Patrick Paul. You hope he doesn't touch the field as a rookie, but Armstead also is getting up there. He is 33. I think he has 2 or 3 years left in his deal, so Armstead won't be around too much longer. Honestly, he doesn't have to make an end of contract. He can release him or trade him by the end of it. Have Paul be your starter. So Paul's really just a high the draft development the guy. We don't want him starting yet. They also got They also got Ryan Hayes. He's bad. At this point, he's bad depth, but he can develop and get a little better. A lot of Michigan defensive linemen do good in the NFL, so like that's why you see a lot of Michigan defensive linemen get drafted because so many of them do good. So now you brought now left guard you brought in Zaywin last offseason from your division rival, the Patriots. He's a good offensive lineman, but I don't think he was worth that first round pick to use on him at the time. But he's still good. And then if he does get injured or he does do bad, you do got Robert Jones, who's shown he can be a good starter at times. So you got him as well. So you got two good options at left guard there. Then you got Matthew Jones and Jason Hines, both young Yolento guys. That's really it for each of them. So now let's go to center. You have Aaron Brewer as your starter. He is not good at all, but you don't really have much at center to replace him unless Robert Jones can play some center, which he could, but he hasn't shown if he can before. So you do have Leighton Meichenberg. He's a former second round pick, but he's a total bust. He has not been a good player for them. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But you don't want to start either. So you don't really have great starting options at center. Andrew Mayer and Sean Harlow. I feel like between those two, Harlow's gonna be a better guy in the depth chart. But I don't think either of them will make it. Harlow might be a practice squad guy. I don't think Meyer is gonna make it. Either of those, but we'll see. And right guard, you got Liam Eichenberg. You just don't want to start him. So you kind of hope maybe Jones can move the right guard, but still, like he's not that good. He's fine because maybe he'll be better his fourth year as a second round pick, but like At that point, most guys second round picks show some promise. He has not shown a ton of promise so far. So still we'll see. Then behind it, we got Jack Driscoll. He's okay, but like he never really played in the Eagles because they have two really good tackle. Driscoll can play some tackle too because they have Lane Johnson, they have Jordan Mailata for a while. They had Andre Dillard. But yeah, still he's okay. Depth, Mr. Quarantine. We met the guy. You're not much from him. Then a right tackle. You have Austin Jackson, former first round pick from 2020 as well. He is worth that contract extension they gave him a few months ago. But he's not a great. He is not the greatest, but he's still fine. He's still relatively young. He's still gonna be. He's only 20. His birthday is actually today. She turned 20. He turned 25 today, so he's still really young for a 2020 draft pick. So he could still be getting better, and can he stay healthy as well? He has still injury. And then got Kendall Lamb. He's a fine depth, but another guy you do not want starting. Like you have three fine starters, and you got two questionable starters in Brewer and Eichenberg. Like if Armstead and Wynn can stay healthy, both of them with some injuries, that you're perfect. That's a good left side of your line. But then you go to center and right guard. That's not great. But right tackle's fine as well, Jackson. So we'll see what happens there. That's it for their offense. They got some really good weapons. So still their defense. You had a huge loss. You lost Kristen Wilkins to the Raiders. Christian Wilkins is a really good player. It's just they don't have a ton of cap space to pay him because they had to pay Tua. They paid Lotto. They gave Theo a little more money. So they had a lot of guys they had to pay. So Jalen Phillips will blitz a lot, and Bradley Chubb are your main two edge rushers. They dealt with a lot of injuries last year, so see what happens there. But if they do, you did draft Chop Robinson in Penn State. I don't know where he is on this. Where is he on? Oh, there he is. Sorry, he's right there. He's so he can't he's perfect. He'll be really good if those two get Phillips or Chubb go down because they have in the past. He should he should be your backup outside linebacker saying Quentin Bell because Quentin Bell's not that good, but he could also put Johnson and make your main when you're being pass edge rushers. Then for one of your edges, you got Zach Sealer. He's fine. Being out no Kenna and being your number one. Opposite of him, you got Calais Campbell. He's still decent, but he's really old. So it's like he's not going to be playing much longer, and he's going to be falling. He's going to fall off more and more every year. He shouldn't be that good anymore. But he also Jalen Phillips and Bradshaw, they're both really good. They're both pretty good edge rushers. You also got Mally Akra as his backup. Like between him and Chop Robinson as your backup outside linebackers, that's pretty good. Then Jonathan Harris and Deshaun Hand. Deshaun Hand's decent. John Harris is okay. He's not very good though. But it's because of all those outside linebackers can play edge, they could go up after quarterback. I don't think it's gonna be tough for them to make the roster. Val Galmore, he was not worth that third round pick for the Cowboys. He's just not that good, but he's okay depth if he does make this roster. And nose tackle, you have Benito Jones. He's okay. As a nose tackle, he's perfectly fine. When he brought in Tahir Tart, I think he was a Titans guy before this. So he was a Titan so he brought him for Texans, but he had spent most of his career with the Titans. That's what I was thinking of. He's the most nose tackles aren't sack guys, so that's perfectly fine. But he's a good nose tackle. So between him and Jones is that. Brendan Pilley's not to make this roster. He's just depth. I already talked about Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. Both of these guys are good, but can they stay healthy? And Akbar's good depth. I feel like Chop Robinson should definitely be over Quentin Bell just because Robinson was a first round pick. He's a rookie. Bell's okay. Then you also got Cam Brown and Mohamed Kamara. Kamara is a recent draft pick, or is he DFA? So he's a recent draft pick in this fourth round. So he's fine. It's gonna be tough for him to make this roster, but he'll for sure be practice squad guy. Cam Brown's okay. He's not very good though. And you also have Grayson Murphy. UDFA is okay. He's not good. So that's for your outside linebacker slash defensive line. Now let's go to your middle linebackers. You have David Long Jr. He's pretty. He's good. He's good at all. He's a good line. He's a good linebacker. But he also brought in the former first round pick Jordan Brooks from the Seahawks. He's had some decent years. He's dealt with some injuries, and like last year he did not do as good as you think he would do better with Bob Wagner back, but didn't really do as good. So we'll see what happens there. But he was a former first round pick, so we'll see. And then we'll get Anthony Walker Jr. and Duke Riley. Duke Riley should be number 3 middle linebacker, but Walker's fine too. They're both fine backups. But you also have Ezekiel Vanderboer and Channing Tinhall. Tinhall, he is a 2022 draft pick, right? Yeah, he's drafted third round 2022, so you hope he finds a way to make this roster. But it'll be tough for him, but he should be for sure practice squad guy. If he doesn't, he should get over Ezekiel Vanderbilt on your depth chart. Chris Bolton is just not good. He's a fine that he shouldn't make this roster. So that's it for your linebacker group. Now let's go to your secondary. You made 2 big additions in corners, Kendall Fuller and Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer has been good for the Bills in the past, but he's dealt some injuries and he is getting a little up there. But he's still a good safety, but he is 33, so how good will he still be? But yeah, like he has dealt with a couple injuries last few years with the Bills. But he has some really good years with the Bills. Kendall Fuller is fine, but he's not great. But you can't as your hope. Jalen Ramsey. Then you also get Jalen Ramsey. He's still good, but he's not near as good as his prime years were. And he used to be a top corner in the league. He's still fine. So you're kind of hoping Ramsey's your number 1 over Fuller. Then also you got Cater Kohu. This is his 3rd year. He's been fine slot guy, but you don't really want him starting the outside corner if you can avoid it. You got Ethan Bonner, decent. Okay, depth. He's not great though. Then he also got Cam Smith. This is his 2nd year as a 2nd round pick. He didn't play much last year, but he can go on the outside if Fuller struggles or one Fuller Ramsey get injured. Also got Nick Needham. He's a fine slot corner, but that's really it. And Simon Steele, Neal, and Storm Duck. Storm Duck had some decent college years, but he struggled last season there. But he's fine. He's probably a practice squad guy. Simon Neal, he's probably not. He's probably gonna be roster cuts just because he's far down the depth chart. They just got Jason Maitre. He's okay. Same with Mike Perry. They're bad. They're bad. They shouldn't make the roster. So now let's go to your safety. I already talked about Jordan Poyer. Free safety. You got another guy who should get paid soon, Javon Holland. He's been really good for them. He was a great 2nd round pick in 21. He's been great. Like, yeah. Well, how can they? Will they be able to afford? Can they fit their cap space around to pay him? I already talked about Jordan Poyer. Then as your backup strong safety, you brought in Marcus May. He's had some decent years, but I think he's 31, 32. So yeah, 31 already. He's had some good years with the Saints and Jets. So yeah, we'll see. You also got Elijah Campbell. He's okay depth. Jordan Colbert can beat him out for your backup free safety, but we'll see. Patrick Morris is bad. Same with Mark Perry. Neither of those guys should make the roster. Once you get far down the depth chart at any position, you're most likely none of them are going to be making the roster. Maybe practice squad guys if they are young. We'll see. That's every defense. You have some fine players, but you had a really big loss in Kristen Wilkins. We'll see what he do with his new coordinator. So now kicker and punter, you got Jason Sanders and Jake Bailey. That's a fine combo. Then at returner, you got a pretty good returner, Braxton Berrios on both. We'll see what happens there, but He'll make the roster regardless because he'll probably be your fourth or fifth wideout. But Devon Achane can be a good returner as well if you need him to. If you want like a really skilled guy to do it, if you're fine, but you just also don't want risk Achane getting an injury. So we'll see what happens there. So that's it for their special teams, and that's it for their roster. They got a pretty good roster. They should be good this year. So now let's go to their schedule. So yep, week one they got Jags. That's a win. Got the Bills. Since I feel like Cincinnati Bambi should be able to win that one. I think they'll split with Buffalo. Should beat the Seahawks. Should beat the Titans. Should definitely sweep the Patriots because they should not be good this year. Maybe next year they can go better, but they shouldn't this year. You should be able to beat the. You should beat the Colts. You should beat the Cardinals. I feel like lose this one against the Bills and Buffalo. I think you could. I feel like Rams should be a good game, but I think they could lose. And it's Los Angeles doesn't have good downfall fans. They still is there, but who knows? Ramsey could have just go off against his former team. Then 2 wins right there. Probably last against the Packers since it is in Lambeau. Depending on how Rodgers does, you could split the Jets. Texans, I feel like they'll win that game just because they have more experience than the Texans. Texans have a mostly young team versus the Dolphins have a lot of experience. Losing against the Niners, Browns, and you got two tough teams against the Cities and Browns and Jets. You should be. Depends on Browns have a really good roster. It's just like how does Watson do? We'll see. Jets, you probably will be able to sweep them, but should probably be a little tough. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.